I see him with a fucking bikini on. And Ari's got one with that warped body is. And they're dancing. Everybody was having a good time. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Tickets are on sale for KFC Radio Live. Click the link in the bio. Get yours. Come out and hang with the boys.
I left at 8:40. I was going to catch breakfast.
You left at 8:40?
Yeah.
Wait, dude, it's fucking 11.
Bumper to fucking bumper. And I came up yesterday, and I left my house at, it was like an hour 5.
Dude, let me tell you something. If we ever do this again and you're stuck in like 3 hours of traffic, turn around and cancel. We'll just do it another day. Holy shit.
It's every day.
8:40.
It's every day. Some days
Yeah,
it's
I
easy.
know.
You
You know
in the
what's
car.
weird? It started when I drove in and out during the pandemic, and it was easy.
Oh,
You know,
it
it
was
was
the
a breeze.
playground, yeah.
And then it started to get bad. But I've noticed like Monday and Friday, nobody's around. Wednesday, Tuesday,
Yesterday,
it's
I fucking walked up. Nothing.
nothing. Because I think people just are working from
Nothing.
home more and shit. But
Nothing.
Tuesday, Wednesday is like the one couple days a week you can't get away with it. So working from home, so it fucking jammed on Wednesday.
Holy shit. It took me, first I ordered Uber. And I saw the Uber was like $60, $70. I'm like, what's going on here? This is a hop, skip, and a fucking jump.
Joey, we're selling books, baby. We don't got to worry about $60
No,
Ubers.
no. But I'm looking at it going,
Yeah.
holy fuck,
Yeah,
something's
the
going
problem.
on.
Yeah.
No, something's going on.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I hit it,
Yeah.
and he canceled with 2 minutes. So I stood
Rat
there for 8 fucking minutes.
Because they see where you're going. And
Yeah,
like, I don't want to.
450 feet, and all of a sudden it got up to 10 minutes.
Son of a bitch.
I'm like, God, I just jumped in a cab, and it was $26. So it's really bad. That's what it is. Uber raises.
Hey, this guy, he hates Uber. He's been trying to get off of Uber forever,
The old
man.
cab guy, dude.
Yeah.
I'm an old school cab guy too, but man, sometimes Uber gets you the fuck out of here quick.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Quickly.
you just get it right away.
You get it right away. So.
The days of standing on the corners, fucking trying to get a cab and nobody picks you up. It's the
That's a
worst.
fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
But I lived here in '93 for a while. In '93, I used to live in Secaucus, and I leave my house at 7:45, and I'd be in the city at 8 to do a spot, parked and ready to go.
Was it just there was just less people and less bullshit?
I don't know what the fuck it was.
Yeah.
But you come to the city now at 8:15, it's like, what the fuck are they giving away out there?
Yeah.
The fuck are they giving away? Where you fucking dummies going?
See, this is why I love you. I think this is why people like you too, because it's just like you're living still a very normal life. You know, you're worried about fucking traffic getting in and out of the city.
I don't give a fuck. I could take the ferry.
Yeah, the ferry's expensive.
But 18 in and out.
Yeah.
You know, you sit there, you can get a little fucking sun, except today. You stop in Edgewater, you go to eat. When on the way home, I either stop in Union City and get some steaks on a stick.
Yeah,
That guy's been on the
baby.
corner there for 80
Have a
fucking
drink
years.
on the way home. Yep.
Or on the way home, I go to Cliffside and go to Rudy's and get some fucking fried calamari and shit. I've been going there since I was 16.
Life's simple, man. Life is simple.
Yeah, they
when
used
you
to
keep it
serve
like
me when
that.
I was 16, so my loyalty is with them. And people like,
Anybody
this is
who gives
better.
you booze?
Fuck you. When I was 16 and needed a drink, they were there for me. You know what I'm saying? On Monday Night Football.
Love it, man. Have you always been here? Did you move out? I mean, you bounced around, right?
I
Like,
left here in 83.
83.
And I came back for a while, like a year later. That was a big fucking mistake.
Was 83 to Colorado?
84 was here.
Oh, here.
And then I went back to Colorado. It was just on.
Yeah.
Like Donkey Kong.
Well, we read the book.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
The stories.
The life of a
You
comedy
are a
savage.
bad motherfucker.
Oh, it's fucked up. And they cut chapters out.
Dude, I was wondering that. I was wondering if you kept some shit in the holster, maybe for another book or another time, or if the editors were like, you know, we can't tell some of these stories. Like,
Well, they fought me for names at first. They were like, you can't use those names.
Uh-huh.
So I had to go back and go, listen, this guy's dead.
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck? His family's dead. Like, who cares? They're dead. You know. So then that was, and then there was one chapter they took out that I kind of got upset about because it was crucial. It showed me coming back fucking broken in '93 and in 9 months. Because I always tell people, if you're fucking going through shit, move home. Move home.
back to
Take
the
a walk to your grammar school.
Yeah.
Walk those steps. Walk to the high school. Walk those gym fucking hills. And something gets back to you. And that's what I did. From there, I left. And that's when I went after comedy like a fucking savage.
and they cut that out? That part of the
Well, there's more to that part.
Because I see it sounds pretty harmless to me, Joey.
There was
It sounded
fucking-
really nice.
There was dressing up like a DEA agent and taking people down in Harlem in on 181st Street.
That's gold,
We just
man.
fucking follow people and fucking take their shit. It was not good, guys.
But, okay, so wait, what? You can tell this story on a podcast. Like it's not like you're hiding the story. I guess
No,
they
no,
just
no.
don't want to be on the hook for some sort of legal shit.
Yeah, I
Publisher?
don't know what the fuck. No, I'll talk. You know, it was interesting because I came back and I had this crazy buddy, and I got back here and he was crazier than ever. But he was my #1 comedy supporter. Like, it was hard to believe that this guy broke legs in the daytime.
Right.
And then he'd make sure you have material for tonight. You got to be going there and kill him. I'll tell you how funny the guy was. We did Caroline's one night, and he waited till midnight to do a contest, and he fucking won the contest.
Wow.
Because he was just a funny guy, but he was out of his bird.
Well, that's the thing about comedy is there's really very funny people. Probably funnier than some of the best professionals.
Absolutely.
But they don't have the discipline or the ability or the time or the resources, whatever, you know? But there's some people out there that are definitely funnier than, you know, the all-time greats. They just don't do it.
There's a dude in Chicago, white dude. I saw this dude, I almost died. And I went up to him later and I go, why are you not? And he goes, I got 6 kids.
Right.
My wife's a school teacher. I'm happy in Chicago. And then I heard a story about he was in town one night and he was headlining when Kennison came to that town. He was a younger comic. And the deal was that they tell you, but when Kennison comes in from doing his arena, get the fuck off the stage.
Yeah,
Kennison doesn't want to deal with it. Just say goodnight, we'll still pay you for your set. Kennison got there, and they're like, you want us to get us off? And he's like, fuck no. This kid's killing me. And he was clean. This guy's spotless, fucking clean.
Yeah.
I forget what his name is, but I went to Chicago like 3 years ago, and he's a radio host now. So
he's got
he
something.
made, you know,
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
does
yeah.
stand-up. He's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
fucking city guy.
That's crazy.
But
though.
I always thought that dude was fucking hilarious. And, you know, there's different circumstances for people.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. I mean,
I always think, for some reason, I don't know why it is with me, but I always think clean comics like get me the best.
because it's like
I like
you
'em
can
too.
relate
I think
to
it's-
everything. It's always something that
It's always,
you know,
and it's also it's not like me, and I just like
The
things.
opposite of
It's
you.
the opposite.
Yeah,
of
what
me
do you
where
think
I'm
my
like-
favorite comic is? I think the best comic working is John motherfucking Mulaney.
I was just gonna
Yeah,
say,
Hands down.
Yeah.
And now that he's telling people he snorts coke and
Yeah.
fucks people in the ass,
Dude.
I love him even more. That
Right.
fucking crazy
Yo,
Irish.
can you imagine?
Because he comes out with a fucking suit and shit. When I heard he was doing coke, I almost died. I fucking love that fucking Irishman. I love him. He's a little faggy looking sometimes, you know. You don't know where he's coming from, but bro, that white boy, that Irishman is fucking dangerous.
Yo, he's a killer, dude.
Dangerous.
Can you imagine doing all your comedy and obviously having a great career and killing, but knowing that you got all that other shit in the holster if you wanted to tell those jokes and just choosing not to. All the stories you could tell, but you're like, nah, I can just talk about, you know,
I'll talk about Bit and Binder for like 3 hours.
No, and listen, guys, let me tell you what comedy is. I simplify it for people. Comedy should feel like Cat Williams' first special when he does the Michael Jackson sniffing kids' assholes bit. And the crowd was unsure. It was a black audience. How could you be talking about Michael Jackson? That's comedy.
Yeah.
You heard oohs, and you heard a ton of laughter,
Right.
and people who wanted to say it. He caught them.
Yeah.
You know, how the fuck do you fuck? When was the last time you saw Michael Jackson with a woman? Come on, I got time. Nothing, you know. He tore into it, raw.
Yeah, he's
And that's what comedy should be like that special, like that bit. When you watch it, you're blown the fuck away because
Right.
he hits a chord with you. And that's what John Mulaney does. I like John.
Yeah.
I've never met him.
Never met him?
I'm his biggest fucking fan.
No
I've
shit.
never
I'm
met him.
surprised you haven't met him yet.
I tried to fucking imitate him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't do it.
No, that's hard.
Not imitate him, but like try to work a little cleaner and
Yeah.
shit. I'm like,
Oh, Joe, listen. There are certain guys like I think that ship sailed for people like us. I don't know. Man.
yeah, but
I've thought it
sometimes you're like,
sometimes,
that's a
like-
goal.
Yeah, no, it's
That's
you're right.
Everything else
Yeah.
I've done. A book, this,
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Now, what do you want? Let me do a 30-minute set clean. You know, when I started, I used to wear a suit, guys. And that sucked.
Dude, the point of being in a job like comedy is that you don't have to wear a suit.
Well, I liked Lenny Clark. And then
Yeah.
Lenny Clark's special with Rodney Dangerfield, he wore
Sure.
a badass Armani suit. And I'm like, oh, I got to get a suit. So I started wearing a suit. For 2 years, I bombed.
Really?
But took the suit off, and all.
And you were good.
Good.
You know,
like
you
Superman,
learn these
bro.
little things. They just don't buy you in a fucking suit, Joey. But you want to wear a
I'd
suit.
buy you in a suit. You show up in a suit. I'd buy
It
No?
doesn't pan. You're like, what the fuck?
What was the other one? Was it Mitzi told you to do it in a diaper?
Yeah.
You're not a suit guy. You're a diaper guy.
Oh, she made me a regular and then sat me next to her. And she's like, I really like Cubans. I think you should dress up like Fidel and go on stage. And I'm like, oh, God. That's when, at the end, when she was kind of losing it. And she would say that to you to see if you would do it. And if you would do it, she wouldn't give you spots no more. Because you're a pussy. Yeah.
That's funny.
You know, you're a pussy. Because
That's
you actually
funny.
did what I told you to do.
Right.
So,
Yeah, because I know.
Fuck,
so
I would
many
do it in a
people-
heartbeat.
I
dude.
know
I'd
that's
do it in a
fucked
heartbeat.
up. Because so many people are like, "I'll just do whatever it takes," and it's like, no, that's not the right answer.
listen, I don't even like fucking Halloween.
Yeah.
Like, I stopped after like 10, you just put a towel around your neck and you're Superman.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't like any of that shit. Like dressing up
I'm with
and
you, dude.
stuff.
I'm with you, man. So, I mean, this is something I would imagine people have been telling you for years. You got to write a book. Your life is so crazy. You need to write a book. I mean, I feel like your whole. I know what you do with Sickler, where you're just kind of telling your
Yeah,
life
we just
story, and it
bullshit.
feels like a fucking movie in its own right.
Yeah.
And I know you've been in movies and shit, but you basically are a walking movie. So, was there a reason why, like now, like, did you feel like you were at a point where it was like time to do it? Or?
It had been knocking on my door for like 10 years. I had all
Sure,
these
man.
agents torturing me about books and shit. And I tried and I couldn't put it together. And I started. It was okay. Went on a roll. And I outlined it and I would write little chapters, but I just couldn't do the hump, you know? And when I got here, I had a new knee. I knew I was going to get a new knee. I'm going to be down for 90 fucking days in the winter.
There you go.
I might as well get this going. I went to a barbecue. I met Erica Florentine, which Jimmy Florentine's niece. And we started talking on the phone every day. That's what it was. It was a process on the phone. Sometimes we'd meet and we'd just do it on the phone. And then she'd call me back and we'd go over the whole chapter. And that's why I wanted people, listen, for me, I wanted people to, I'm so sick of people who are fucking lost. You know, I really am. I was lost. But, like, I got sick and tired of people. Like, if I could kill somebody, for sure, it would be my guidance counselor. Because those cocksuckers never told you nothing. They never told me that I could come over to the city and take acting class.
Yeah.
I didn't know. You heard that you had a bartender and somebody would come in and made Bruce Willis a bartender and shit. But the point of this book was to let people know, how, no matter, I was in a fucking rocket ship, sleeping every night in a park.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay? And I think about that every fucking day. Every day before I eat a fucking sandwich, I think about that. And it keeps me grounded. Like, it's really kept me grounded. But I wanted people to know that it's bullshit what they sell you. What they sell you as a kid is bullshit. You can do whatever the fuck you want, you know? And I'm living fucking proof.
Yeah. For real.
You know how many times I was on a movie set going, Mr. Diaz, would you like some water? Oh, my God. They have no idea. I would have robbed them 2 years ago.
Well, you were on fucking it's tremendous. Life of Comedy Savage. Again, go buy it, go read it. It's unbelievable. And there's so many times through reading it where I was like, I always talk about watching the movie Flight with Denzel.
Good
And I watched
movie.
it. Great movie. I watched
Great
it hungover on a Sunday, and the anxiety I was getting, where I was like, just stop doing drinking, right? And when you were on Baseketball and you were still stealing all the rollerblades.
Oh, my God.
Like, dude, you don't need to do this anymore. You're on the movie. Stop fucking being a girl.
And they kept saying, what's going on with the roller skate? And listen, any New Yorker, you know what I'm saying? Like any Brooklyn guy, Bronx guy, Queens guy, anybody from New York, it would have taken 2 weeks. I mean, it's in our blood. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could only look at a fucking trailer filled with roller skates. For how long?
Gotta steal them all.
And they're not moving. Nobody's using them. And I'm like, so one day I just wanted to play it against sports. And I go, how much for these skates? And they're like, we'll give you $140. I'll be back tomorrow. Every fucking day. I was in there, $140 plus tax. They even gave me the tax back. No receipt. It was fucking priceless. By the time, like 3 weeks in, I went and looked at the truck. There was nothing left. There was like size 4 and size 18. And like fucking, what's his name? Fucking, the guy from Philly, the center, was going to be in the movie. There were these big-ass roller skates. I cleaned everything out. In fact, the day I shot, I'm not on fucking roller skates. I was not. Watch that. I'm not on roller skates. I make believe like I'm Ralph Cramden and shit.
I didn't know you made believe.
There was no size 11 roller skates. You understand me? I cleaned them all out. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then the guy started telling me, you have any connections for rollerblades? Because it was rollerblade in L.A. He goes, you got to bring me some rollerblades. I go, next movie. Next movie.
Dude, that is the best. I mean, stories like that are just so priceless.
And then the whole thing, like I was into it, right? Like, oh my God, this is my first chance. I'm going to be a good guy. 3 weeks of going in there, you're not shooting today. So I would just sit in the trailer for fucking 8 hours, losing it.
Idle hands, man. You get into some
Finally,
shit.
I would look and see Jenny McCarthy boxing. She had like a little bag with a little trainer, and she'd wear these tight things, and a pussy would sweat, and I would fucking lose my mind. I'd be out there going, I wonder what her little asshole smells like right now after that little kickboxing workout. Because that's the monkey in full effect right there. And then finally one night I went out, and I got fucked up. Coke, ludes, whatever the fuck we were doing. And I went home and just closed my eyes next to my girlfriend, and she goes, you want to ride for the movie? And we were shooting at the LA Coliseum. And I get there, and as soon as I get there, like, you're shooting today. I'm like, what do you mean?
Out of all the days.
I was coming in to sleep. Like, you're fucking first up. And I was like, oh, I didn't know anything.
How did you get, like, how do you break into movies when you're, I mean, a regular guy, you're kind of a hustler. Like, how do you get your first look from a...
I moved to LA, and I never thought it. Like, acting to me was so far away, especially after prison and shit.
Sure.
I was like,
and it takes so much, like, schmoozing, and you gotta, like, suck this guy's dick and shake this guy's hand, and it doesn't seem like you're that kind of guy.
No, but I got an audition for NYPD Blue, and I had to go to the Boschko building, and it's like the 8-mile fucking walk, and on the way back I'm furious, and I just happened to stop at a water fountain, and some lady comes on, she goes, hey, are you here for the audition? I guess.
Now I am.
And she goes, know these lines. Read them in 5 minutes.
Was it a guy who looked like you and talked like you? And
I had
you
no
fit
fucking
the bill?
idea.
You didn't even know?
I walked into NYPD Blue and sucked a bag of dicks. I didn't know what I was doing, guys. I had never acted. There was a 10-page audition. So I walked out of there like, I'm not going to get that. And all of a sudden I'm walking through the building. Lady comes out and she goes, you want to read for this movie? Yeah, whatever. And I went in and I played. It was a ref. And I read the 2 lines. At the time, guys, I was living in a flop house in L.A. Those places were like Rocky. Those, they have a phone in the hallway, and you pay like $40 a day, and fucking all night long people knocking on your door, runaways and shit. Like, what the fuck is this? I was staying there. That's the position I was in, guys. And all of a sudden, somebody goes, Joey Diaz, do you have a phone call? I'm like, what the fuck? Who's calling me on a payphone? It was my manager. He goes, you got basketball. They're going to pay you $5,500 a week. And I'm like,
holy shit.
What are you talking about?
So that's like you hit the fucking lottery.
Yeah, but I didn't even have the $1,200 for SAG. And they wouldn't pay it. So I had like a week to come up with $1,200. So I got to mug somebody. No.
I think you can figure that out.
I called Doug Stanhope's agent, and he got them to waive the SAG. He paid for it.
Really?
And I got into it. And like I said, I never went out there with the intention of doing anything, guys. I could tell you that. I was just happy not to be a criminal.
Yeah.
When I got to LA, I'm like, you know what? I'm here. And you know how many times I pulled up to the Comedy Store and there'd be 10 cases of Jack Daniels, and I go, oh, back in the day. But I couldn't shit there. And I kept saying, and my plan was simple. If I fail in LA, I'm going to go back and kill my ex-wife and her husband. Then go to Jersey and let the cops come get me in Jersey. I don't give a fuck.
Go to jail at home.
Describe that as a simple plan.
It was.
It probably would have been.
What else was I going to do? I wasn't going to go into plumbing. It was too late to go into masonry. What was I going to do? I was already felon. I couldn't even get an acupuncturist license. What was I going to do? So if I didn't do anything with comedy, I was just going to go kill my ex-wife and then move to Jersey and sell coke. And that was the plan. And then when I got...
say that you need to cut the safety net and like have no safety net.
Yeah.
But have the safety net be
double murder.
Fuck it, it's a party. And I'm driving there and then driving out there like Bundy.
So wait, at this point for basketball, that's after all the kidnapping and the crazy shit.
Yeah.
So and
the kidnapping was 87.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Basketball was like 98.
So by that point, like, did that not wasn't a problem for you? Did people like look up your history and have an issue with it? Or you
No,
were
that's the
reformed?
problem. They don't look up shit. You think you're walking on
Wow.
eggshells the whole time, going, "Can we speak to you for a second?"
Yeah.
That's what.
I've had people tap me on the shoulder before. And
Yeah.
Hey man, we did a background check. We got a problem.
Right.
I,
Right.
I was wondering that while reading the book because they were like, how do you think you'd fare as a criminal in modern times? Because there were so many times where you're like, and then I just moved.
Yeah, you
And-
just
and it
change
was-
towns and you start over.
Like,
fresh.
do you think
like,
is it still like that? Like, can you just be like? I mean, granted, you went across the country,
I mean,
but there were times in Colorado where you went from Snowmass to
Aspen,
so
yeah.
you
But
just had,
now, like
smaller
the phone and the technology, it all you can't get away with shit. Everything, everywhere you go, you're still.
I don't know what I do. Like a credit card. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm sure
It's
I'm
a
sure
different
you
fucking
would,
world.
That's
Yeah.
the thing, though. I'm sure you would have just applied what you knew to modern day shit. You would have figured it out.
Nah,
You would have been
know,
scamming away on the internet instead of running numbers. You know what I mean? It's just a different time.
I don't know what I do. I really last 3 years I've been sitting here going, what the fuck would I do right now in my life? Can I get a job at Costco? What can I do? I mean, I'm not qualified to do shit except sell. Like if
We got asked this question yesterday. Like, what would you do tomorrow if all this went away? And I was like,
I'd sell cars maybe till I'm 65.
yeah. I mean, you can.
Yeah,
you
you
can
could
talk.
improvise.
You can sell. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
so that's what we could do. But anything else, what can I do? I have no.
Well, luckily you don't have to worry about that, bro.
Yeah, but
I mean,
you still.
you got it all now.
But you still go, Jesus Christ, what if? Like, I can't believe I'm this worthless.
Dude, that's a crazy way to think. Though, because you're so far from that.
But I see guys changing tires. I see guys
yeah,
doing all.
okay,
like
yeah.
I'm worthless.
I think about that all the time. Like I
I'm
can't do anything with my
worthless.
hands. I can't fix a car.
Can
I
you
can't-
imagine if we had to do construction
Oh,
right now? Get up at 6 and carry
in the
fucking
sun
wood and
and-
fucking.
yeah.
Hey, pick up garbage, and you're like, what the fuck?
Dude,
No way.
I had a guy come to my apartment the other day asking where the radiator was, and I know what a radiator is, but I was like, I don't know. Actually,
even
it was
find
like
it, let
hidden
alone
behind a plant,
fix
so I
it.
just don't see it often. But I felt like such a fucking pussy. Where I was like, I can't tell this man where to do his work.
But you know
because
what? Those same guys would be like, I could never get on stage in front of
That's true.
10,000 people and make them
No,
laugh.
that's
you
true,
know?
too. So
everybody's
it's,
got what they're good at,
It's a win-win or win-loss, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's,
When you were like getting out of prison, right? What was like your first move? I've always been so curious about like when you are out and it's just like day one, go. Like what do you do like literally day one?
it's scary.
Yeah.
Because
Because he was saying, he's always said, it's like, I think I would do okay in prison hanging out with the boys. And you're on a schedule and everything's kind of taken care of. And I
that
think
first prison you were in Colorado, where you're like, it was in the mountains. It was like 12 guys. We'd tell the guards what to get us for dinner.
Oh my God.
I was like, I
that sounds
killed
awesome.
that.
That sounded like my college dorm freshman year, hanging out with the boys.
Summit County Jail. Yeah. Summit County Jail. And if you were there 30 days or longer in the winter, they took you skiing.
I was gonna say, I was gonna joke they gave you a lift pass.
They took you skiing. The reason
So I
was,
wouldn't even want to get out of that jail. Let's just stay here
No.
forever.
The reason why I wanted to go to Rifle as a camp was because they took you skiing. And in the summer, you were a lifeguard at the pool in town. Are you fucking kidding me?
You're watching kids?
At Camp George West, they let you out for 20 minutes a day to go to the 7-Eleven and go shopping. So you had to make, and it was golden, so you're close to Coors.
Yeah.
So you can't really drink or nothing, but I'd rather take the 20 minutes out and just walk out of there.
Yeah.
And then I used to drive them crazy because I figured out you call the Chinese place and tell them to have your order ready. And I'd walk back into prison with a spare rib. They go, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?
Baby.
And the camp, like where I went, there was some fucking sick people at this camp because they were finishing their long sentences. And you had a lot of federal people in there. But I met one gangster. And that's all I needed from the Bronx. One fucking guy.
Yeah.
And he was a big fat guy, Italian guy, and he cooked. He made his living in there by cooking. Nachos and just sandwiches, everything and then when he found out that I could bring him shit, I would bring him Haagen-Dazs ice cream and he would make fucking cannolis and jailhouse cannolis. It's fucking crazy. It was insane. And at that time, AIDS was new. So they had built a new AIDS wing that was fucking state of the art. There was 10 beds, but only 3 guys in there. And they had like a big screen TV, a refrigerator, their own kitchen. We go in there and fucking party with the AIDS guys. Fuck it. Where's those 3 AIDS motherfuckers? Let's watch some sports here today, Jack. And we would have, and then we'd watch America's Most Wanted. That was our shit on Saturday. Sunday nights, Peg Bundy, and then America's Most Wanted. We went off on America's Most Wanted.
I saw a tweet there.
Sounds so awesome.
Dude, every time I talk to someone who was in prison, I'm like, I fucking love prison. We had Wallow and Gilly from Philly, and Wallow was, I was like, look, the one thing I didn't want to be, I don't want to be a white supremacist. And he's like, you'd be fine. They don't make you be white supremacists. That's just in the movies. I was like, then I'm good. Then I think I'd be all right.
Fine. I don't have to get a Nazi
you find a niche in there, and to be honest with you, I got around perfect in that. I was good friends with the Crips. I was good friends with the Bloods because they both worked in the kitchen. You know,
Everybody loves food, man.
and I would torture them in the kitchen. So I had that. Like, I could get away with that. The bikers were okay. The white supremacists were okay. The bikers, they were a little stupid. There was one guy had to fucking bang his head off a wall one day. That's the kid I talked about in the book. I took a shit in a box.
Yeah.
And put it in an American cheese box, and I put it in his drawer with a little American flag. And he would call people in. Does my room smell like shit? Because we all worked in the kitchen, and I hated this guy. Got long hair. And one day he found the box of shit. I took like an 18-inch. By the time he found it, it looked like a little Chihuahua shit. And he's like, I'm gonna figure out who fucking shit my thing.
He saw a little one. It doesn't come from Joey.
Joey
You immediately had an alibi.
Joey
Like, I
takes
take
big
man
shits.
Oh my God, that can't be me.
Have you changed names and details a little bit, but has anybody hit you up and been like, oh, that was you, or like, oh, that story was us, or whatever?
Nobody's hit me fucking up like that. I was really surprised at that because I gave a lot of people in there my address.
Yeah.
Except the mailman who threatened me. He was like, if you're not into comedy, by the time I get out of here, I'm going to come out and kill you. I don't know where the fuck that motherfucker ended up. He went back to Buffalo or
Very
something.
happy about it, man.
But it slowed me down. It was completely opposite of what I thought. But to get back to your question, like the first few days when you get out, you're happy. But then your mind plays tricks on you. Because you start thinking when you go into a supermarket, all these people know. I just got out of prison. Or all these people know I got out of a camp. Or all these people read the newspaper article.
Sure.
So you start getting this little, and then that goes away. But I hit the floor running.
Yeah.
I got to the halfway house on a Tuesday. By Wednesday, I had my first 8-ball. I was back in business, Jack. You know, all that Bible reading and counseling there. That Bible goes out the fucking window. Get the fuck out of here. Every time I see those Bible beaters in prison, I'm like, on the way out, you'll see the Bible go up in the air.
You need that now.
Yeah, they do that shit now. Yeah, it's like, fuck you.
So this era, you know, we've talked about it to death, but the cancel culture and PC culture and all that shit. And a lot of people will get, you know, fucked over, lose deals, lose careers, whatever, for something as simple as a tweet. Just words you say, right? And then there's someone like you who, like, you know, admittedly committed crime. You did some bad shit. And I guess you think that it's just that you owned up to it, you did your time, and now you own it and you're different, that people don't seem to care. People like you.
You ever see Mike Tyson in person?
Mike Tyson what?
You ever see Mike Tyson in person in a public event? They forgot about the rape.
Yeah. Big time.
Women are hugging him, kids are kissing him.
Yeah, he's in the movies.
White people are hugging him and shit.
Fucking,
Yeah, I mean, America's got two types of people. They got this new woke culture who they want to pick on you for you calling the teacher a fat cunt in the 8th grade, which was 30 years ago. It's got nothing to do with them. And then you have the culture of people like myself that I don't care what you do to me. If you come up to me like a man and apologize from your heart, you're done. We're good.
Yeah. So
We're good. And there's some people who refuse to have that. So as a human being, I was not a productive member of society. Although 20 years ago, I became that, you know. So I tell you what, whatever you think, whatever you want to do, last I checked, you ain't God and you ain't no fucking judge, bitch. When you go to law school, come out, do your attorney shit and become a judge for 20 years, the Supreme Court, then you could decide what happens to me. Until then, you're not going to fucking decide. You're not going to decide. You have to fight. These guys, a lot of these guys got canceled, and they've given up.
Yeah. I think
And
you
they
only,
gave up.
You only get as canceled as you
As you
allow
want.
them
Yeah.
to. They came for you when you were telling the story on Rogan's podcast, and like, did they? How long did that even last? Like, did they just give up when like you just didn't allow it to happen?
4 days.
Yeah.
And the best is, I'm not going to drop no names, the people who started that, the 2 female comedians, called Bill Burr and asked him. You could ask Bill Burr next time you see him, said, tell Joey, the war's over. We can't take this no more.
Really?
Because the church people were fucking crazy, and they went at those bitches.
Yeah.
They kept going at those motherfuckers.
Right.
Hard.
Yeah.
War's over.
Like, listen, my
Hard.
mob is bigger than your mob, so we can do
Yeah,
this. You know?
and you know, these Gentile mobs that these girls showed up with, everything's cute. Yeah, that don't work in the real world. That works for a little while on people who let it work.
4 days.
You follow me?
4 days.
4
in hell
fucking
with Joey
days
Diaz.
until I sent them the video of fucking the 3-legged woman, the 2-legged woman. Hey, you didn't like that story? Take this, motherfuckers. You ain't canceling me.
Right.
I did my time.
Right.
You're not
Right.
canceling
That's what
me.
I like.
I did my time.
Yeah.
You have no danger. You're in no danger of canceling me.
Right.
Not you.
The people who have never gone through something as serious as that get afraid and nervous. I'm gonna lose my followers. I'm gonna lose my spot at the club. Whatever. You've been through a lot more than that sort of
You're
shit.
not going
so
to
it
lose
doesn't-
nothing if you
Right.
stick up for yourself. The last thing I heard growing up was you got to stick up for yourself. That's it. That's we're New Yorkers. I'm a New Yorker. You stick up for yourself. You talk for yourself. You have God gave you a mouth. You tell these motherfuckers, listen, I did it. Whatever. She was kind of cute. Some girl came at me from 20 years ago. Oh, we were doing coke. No, this is what she said. She goes, what about the time we were in the bathroom together? And she put it on Twitter and I just hit her with, yeah, the time you pulled me in to snort my coke. Yeah. That was the end of that. You know, they were all looking. The pandemic made these people sit at home and go, oh my God, in 1982, Kevin called me a spanker. Now come on. Come on. You're fucking killing me, man.
Yeah.
So you can't allow that. We can't allow that.
I do think you're right when you say too, like, you know, you're a New Yorker or your upbringing, like when
We're fucking New Yorkers,
yeah,
bro.
Like there's a difference when your mom is sacrificing animals for Mets games.
You're fucking a
and
New
when
Yorker.
when you're beating up nuns and she comes down and stomps out the nun
Yeah.
with you. I don't think a lot of people understand that sort of we just yesterday called my mom on the phone because my producer heard a story about how we're from City Island in the Bronx and how she punched some dude in the face over the Mets at a City Island bar. and I said, if you ever wonder why I am the way I am, like, here you fucking go.
And the cops wouldn't come. And when they did come, they go, really?
That's why we're here.
Put away the beer and knock it the fuck off. You know, and that's what happened. That's what happened over the years. We made little things over nothing. You know, how many fucking, and that's what the problem with people are today. And they feed into this. They really do feed into this shit. So you just got to tell them, go fuck yourself. And if you don't like it, I'll perform for one person and start all over again.
Right.
I was gonna say, for someone like you, it's got to be like, there's nothing
Don't
you
even
can do.
bother.
Like, I
Don't
slept on a
even
playground.
try.
I fucking
Yeah.
invented,
What are you
like,
going to do to me?
Nothing you can.
What
You're gonna
the
send me
fuck
some
are you
tweets.
gonna-
Yeah,
like,
I'm
yeah,
on my-
like,
I
Look at
found
me
my
mad
mother
on
on a
social
fucking
media.
floor.
Right.
Yeah.
There was so many fucking things, and you want to come at me because in 1997 you sucked dick to get spots at the Comedy Store, and everybody knew it. I got to feel bad for you. I'll fucking take a survey. Give me 100 guys in the room who will turn down a fucking blowjob. Nobody, okay? In front of people and your mother. I don't like blowjobs. I'm a trans. Whatever the fuck you are, it's not gonna fly. We all love blowjobs, okay? We all love our dick sucked. That's what it means to be a fucking man. So if somebody comes up to you and goes, "Hey, I want a job at Barstool as a janitor if I suck your dick," you're a janitor. You know what I'm saying?
How do you think Sparky got the AC gig?
Yeah, how do you think? Yeah. You know, it's you're trying to fucking rewrite something that, you know, I moved out of LA for the simple reason. I have a 10-year-old daughter. And I saw those women out there. And I saw the Bikram yoga documentary on Netflix. And I saw all those things. And I was seeing how the women I was dealing with, and I'm like, this is not happening. This is not happening. My daughter is not growing up here. I don't care if we move to LA, to Jersey and she becomes a fucking stripper. it's better than this shit. Last night I watched the first episode of the Jesse Smollett documentary. And you look at that and you go, what possesses somebody to do that? That town.
Yeah, I mean,
That
I
stupid
can't imagine living
fucking
there.
town.
Yeah.
You're going to fake a hate crime so you don't get fired or so you can continue your little charade in Hollywood. You know,
How much time did you spend out there?
23 fucking years.
Look at that
So
one.
you guys got to remember, the kind of guy I am and to be out there, it got old, man.
Yeah.
It got fucking
Dude,
old.
we spend like a week at a time every other year there, and I'm like, this
And the
sounds not for
anxiety I
me.
was getting from listening to those fucking jerk-off talk, I come from a no chit-chat society, guys.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
We don't chit-chat too much. We do what the fuck we got to do, okay? You know, we don't chit-chat too much.
The chit chat.
These
Small talk,
motherfuckers
man.
love to chit-chat.
And the phoniness, you know,
And all that
like
shit.
if we're not friends, we don't have to pretend. Like, it's
Dog,
fine.
my phone rings 8 times a day now. And I'm the happiest I've ever been because I eliminated 200 calls that meant nothing.
I was
in
gonna
my
say
life.
8 sounds like a lot to me, man.
That's all I can handle.
Yeah.
3 of them is my wife.
Yeah.
You know, what do you want for dinner? What do you want for lunch? You know, that's what I can't handle. I couldn't handle that stupidity anymore. I got rid of my agent when I got here. That
Did you?
fucking
Yeah, just do
douchebag.
it. Yeah.
I got rid of
do it on
all
your
those
own.
motherfuckers and started from scratch. I don't need this shit. I wanted my daughter to have. I wanted her to be a Jersey girl, an East Coast girl, to learn how to stick up for herself, to learn how to tell a motherfucker, "Are you fucking retarded? Get the fuck out of here with your script or your fucking yoga. Whatever the fuck is wrong with you? The fucking, did you see that documentary? Watch that documentary. Some guy
Not a
with
fan of
hummus
yoga.
tasting dick. Some hummus dick up there with a little cup with a fucking ponytail and 300 women doing yoga. And he's like, fucking call him fat and suck his dick. And they're like, oh, he touches me inside. Are you fucking retarded? Did somebody hit you in the head as a kid? Are you fucking serious? Are you putting me the fuck on to make me shoot myself in the head? That fucking yoga brinkum with that hummus foot and that fucking smell.
Dude, I'm glad I was gonna broach the topic eventually, but I'm glad you did. Well, you said dick. You talk about how you used to hide, chlorine and shit.
Oh, my dick. Yeah, when I was in the halfway house. Fuck
What
yeah.
does that mean?
I had to try. Dog, I couldn't beat the drug test. Everybody kept saying you drink Serto, you drink this other shit, cranberry juice. I tried everything, and they kept coming up hot. So I said, "Fuck, I've got to take extreme measures." So I started drinking white vinegar with a bottle of fucking Gatorade every Monday. That didn't work. So I finally said, "Fuck this shit," and I'm uncircumcised, so I would crush pool cleaner and put it on my fucking dick. And then I would put like a rubber band at the end and shit. Come on, dog. You know Uncle Joey's a
My man,
Come on, dog.
my man.
Put a rubber band that motherfucker. And as soon as I went in, I pulled the skin back. The chlorine fell in the cup, and it would start rattling. One time I put Drano in that motherfucker. I still got Drano scars on my dick, guys.
You said that you were like it's still.
I
scarred.
still got Drano scars on my dick. But at that point, it became a game for me to fuck with them.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't
Like
figure
you're
out what
testing
did we
for
do.
what?
And that's how we came to the one-legged story. She was a probation officer. They finally said, you got to go in there with him. And I would whack off in the car a little bit and get my dick half hard and then sprinkle it and then cover it and then go in and I'd show her my dick. What do you think about this cannon? And she, I don't even want to look, Joey. And they had a mirror in front of me. They couldn't figure it out. And a guy before me had the whole contraption, the hot water bottle.
Yeah, it goes down your tube.
Not to
tube
it.
all
And the hot water bottle broke while he was testing. The motherfucking lid fell off. He's like, So I wasn't doing the hot water trick because they were going to throw me back in jail if I came up with a hot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not fucking around with you motherfuckers. So I put chlorine, Drano on my dick. I did everything. That probation officer came to my house maybe 12 times that year. You know how many times I opened the door? he would call the sheriff's office. We're waiting out here for you 2 hours. After 2 hours, they would leave. I'd come down off the coke and look outside. All right. It was, and then I didn't see her. They kicked me off. I was working at a car wash and I met a DA and I told him, you got to get me off probation. He goes, send me a motion. So I didn't see her anymore. And 3 years later, I'm into comedy. And I'm delivering Chinese food, selling coke. At the same time, I'm delivering Chinese, selling coke. You know, I would get so many calls at the restaurant that they would go, how come everybody call for you? Nobody called delivery no more. So I told everybody, you got to order an egg roll. You got to order something, guys. You can't just call the Chinese restaurant. Fuck! They're getting calls all night.
Fried
Oh,
rice,
God.
come on.
No spare rib. No spare rib. One come for Joey. So I went to deliver her food. I didn't even know it was her, to be honest with you. She knocked on the door. I knocked on the door, and she opened it. I'm like, who the fuck is this? And she was like, oh, my God, it's so great to see you. And she was always hot, but she had a bum leg. Like her leg, she had like a little jiggly leg, you know. So nobody fucking hit on her because of the jiggly leg. But while I'm there, she's looking at me and I'm talking to her. And we always kind of like messed around. I showed her my dick like 10 times, you know. I heard her already. I had her already in a psychological effect. Nobody would give a dick. So we're there. We started swapping spit. I'm feeling her pussy and it felt like a fucking oven. And I pulled the pants off, but I didn't want to pull the pants off with the bum leg.
You left it on
because
the
I
leg.
didn't want to know if she got shot in Vietnam or not. So I just wanted to eat a monkey in peace. I'm gonna take a piss. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Are we on?
Yeah.
I didn't even fucking know. I thought we've been hanging out here talking shit for an hour.
Over 45 minutes, Joey.
I don't know nothing.
Incredible. You want the bathroom?
Nah, fuck it. Fuck it now. I thought we were just talking shit. You guys didn't even give me the mic or nothing. I feel bad.
We're good. We got it going. Man. That is so fucking funny. That pretty much sums you up right there. I feel like.
What's that?
Like you just. I don't even think it's. Of course, you know you're. It's work and you're trying but it just comes naturally to you. This whole comedy and shooting the shit and talking is just like who you are.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, podcasting must have been a great fucking revelation for you. Because, I mean, you're born for that sort of shit.
Believe it or not, I was waiting for podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how it was going to show its ugly head.
Mm-hmm.
Because what made it, my life without, my comedy career without telling these stories made me a mediocre comic. I always knew I would watch HBO boxing. How many times do you watch a boxing? You're like, look at this fucking dude. I don't like this motherfucker. But then he's married. He's got 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
His mother lives with him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's a fucking... And now you get to learn more about the guy. And you're like, wow, maybe I'll watch him now.
Yeah.
I always knew if I could tell my story,
People. Yeah.
that would be it.
Yep.
That's a great point.
Dude,
Yeah.
I always
and
knew
that's
that.
also the problem with the new world. Like, nobody takes a second to learn anything about anybody other than read like one tweet or hear one story. Because like everybody's got their shit that they're dealing with, or a reason why something went wrong, or the reason why they did something bad, or whatever. But nobody takes the time or cares.
Once you learn, like, you can learn one thing, like, I don't like them. You learn a second thing, no matter what it is, you're like, oh, they're human.
Yeah,
And it's
right.
like-
Yeah,
That's it.
humanizes
They're
you.
It's a lot easier.
And then
They
I
made
mean, you
mistakes,
are like the
and they said shit. Now I know why they said that shit. Now I know what they were protecting.
mm-hmm.
Now I know why they
Why
spoke
they do
like
what they
that.
do.
Why
Yeah.
I know what you
Yeah.
do. It makes it a lot easier. If I told you a story about kidnapping, we would laugh, and then you'd walk out of here and go, ugh. If I told you any of these stories individually on the first or second meeting, you would leave and go, I don't know about that fucking guy. But if you read that beginning,
Right.
if you
everything
read
about
that
your upbringing,
beginning,
your father and your mother,
Harlem
and, your sister,
and all that shit, you know.
Yeah.
I was like a confused kid. Then I went up to 148th Street. Those Irish motherfuckers were not confused. Those Puerto Rican and Irish kids and black kids
Bro.
were not confused on 148th Street. Their parents were poor, but they didn't cry.
Yeah.
They were out there hustling every day, shoveling snow, breaking windows, because they were shaking down. They were 8 and 9.
Yeah, I was surprised to read that you said you were like growing up, you were very sickly and kind
Sickly,
of like you
sickly.
got pushed
After my
around a
father
little bit.
died, it's funny. My
Yeah.
neighbor, Joey, little kid, he's 7, and he came to the game Saturday, and his mother said he had strep throat and his temperature, and she goes, "We just had this problem 3 weeks ago," and I'm like, "Man, that sounds like
Sounds
me."
familiar.
Hospital
Because I would have thought
visits.
from Jump Street you were like the tough kid on the block and all.
No, man. After my dad died, that took a
Yeah.
lot. That takes a lot out
Yeah.
of you.
You also you gloss over on page 1. You said you and your mom made it out of Cuba, but your sister didn't.
My sister did.
That was just like a sentence.
My
That
sister-
right there is gonna give you went through a lot of shit as a
My
young
sister
kid.
died a year ago
Oh, sorry to hear that.
in Cuba.
Shit.
I got the call while I was doing a podcast that she had died. I got the call like 2 weeks earlier that she was sick and that they didn't think she was going to make it, but they called and she died. I never saw her again after Cuba in 1966.
No way.
That's crazy.
And that's my mother's backstory. That's what killed her.
Yeah.
Because she was Miss fucking Met every day, smoking dope and drinking at the bar. But 2 a.m, it came back to your daughter. When you're out and you party and you forget about your kids and all your problems, it's when you walk in that door at midnight and you're like, now the four walls creep up on you. And so eventually it just got to her and got to her. She lost a bar, you know. And I saw somebody die right in front of my eyes, but it wasn't immediately. Looking back, it's a small process. It was a process. Like, I saw it. So now if I catch that again, I'll intervene now. It's everything. Like, I just saw her spirit break, you know, and so I got to learn a lot from that. So even my mother's story, when you read about her, you're like, this bitch caused a lot of problems. But she also put 2 kids through college, her grandsons.
I mean,
you know?
with the hand that she...
And I didn't go to fucking college on my mother's nickel. But her goddaughter, both her goddaughters went to college. My mom did a lot of good things. And she raised me the best that she could, considering she lived with 9 brothers and sisters in a fucking hut in Cuba. And at night, they would get attacked by cicalia bugs. They couldn't sleep with the lights. I mean, it was just horrible. And then my mother's sister got raped. And she fucking stabbed the guy and fucking killed him. So she had to come here. So all those little stories got to me. And at one point, in all my drug addictness and all my stupidity, I'm like, you know, man, my mother didn't come here for me to be a fucking jerk off. This has to stop. This behavior has to stop, you know. My mother's plans for me were to pay back the United States for accepting us. It meant my mother was like, you're going to the Army. And then you're going to law school, and then you're going back into the Army. And you're going to stay there for 20 years. I would sit there and listen to her plan. I'm going, I don't know what the fuck she's thinking. Army, shooting people, Vietnam. That ain't for me. But in her heart, she was like, this is what we do. They opened up a life to me with no questions. And she came here and prospered with those fucking bars. So she's going to sacrifice me to the government. Like, she was a Kennedy fan. She refused to go to a Met game if she couldn't go and hear the national anthem. People don't even give a fuck about the national anthem no more. My mom beat me if I spoke Spanish on the street because we were in America. We were in fucking America. Now you walk on Broadway, people are speaking languages from all over the world. They don't even give a fuck about your feelings or who the fuck you are. When I was growing up one time, a fucking teacher at my grammar school threw 2 kids off for talking Spanish on the bus. And we all were gonna fucking kill them and shit. And when I got home, I told my mom's like, no, you're not. He was right. This is America. They gave us the opportunity to come here. The least you could do is learn the fucking language. You know, this morning I was gonna I saw a sweatshirt I was gonna wear, Roberto Clemente. And I would look at that guy, and I'm a big fan of his because that guy was super Puerto Rican. But in 1960, he already knew how to speak. Watch his videos. Watch when he went in front of cameras, and always with a suit on, a fucking tie. Roberto Clemente was a savage, and my mother loved him. I still remember when that plane went down.
Crazy.
That was the worst year of my life. That was Clemente, Bruce Lee. Think of all the people that fucking went that year. So it was.
What year was that?
73. 70. And Clemente died on New Year's. So you woke up New Year's Day like you're a baseball fan. You just saw this motherfucker at Shea Stadium break 300 hits off fucking John Matlack or one of those humps, you know? Except my Tom Seaver. Don't be bad my fucking Tom Seaver.
That guy, he was unbelievable.
So it was a different world. It was a different set of priorities. And that came back to me. That started coming back to me when I got locked up because it was the first time I had peace since my mother died. It was the first time I wasn't involved in craziness. I had to sit in a room for 6 or 7 hours. And I started thinking about all that shit. And that's when, listen, when I got into comedy, it wasn't to be a star. Look at my face. I'm in no danger.
Oh, you're crazy.
You're
crazy.
But I just didn't want to be a criminal no more.
Yeah.
I just got sick and tired of doing it. And then I got caught up with the drugs because you have this pain that you have to fucking deal with. And that's it's no excuse. I did drugs. I was a piece of shit. I shouldn't have had the pain. I should have got it taken care of. But you go through all these things. And I had to deal with them.
By the way, listen, I know you say it's not an excuse, but again, the first page is your aunt being raped and your mom killing the guy with the bottle and your sister being left behind and your father dying. Like, it's not an excuse, but there's reasons why people fall into the holes they're in. And you had a decent amount of shit go on that, like, you can understand why somebody ends up addicted or, committing crimes or whatever it is.
I've lurked into this because this is all, my behavior really bothered me for a long time. It really did. The thing that saved me is I had A1 people in my corner. You don't come out like this unless you got A1 motherfuckers around you in your ear. And after what they did for me as a child growing up, the people from North Bergen, I felt like I owed it to them. Mm-hmm. Like I did a documentary when we started the church, and I went to my teacher's house, Mr. Barone. This motherfucker's in the Hall of Fame for basketball. Still, from 1960, he shot the most free throws in a row in college at Holy Cross or something. This guy really inspired me like nobody ever did, What are we talking about?
Was Mr. Brown the teacher who got you clean?
That was Mr. Terranova. Mr. Barone was just a teacher that I went to war with. I stole his keys the first day of school and threw them in the garbage, and we hated each other. And then I found out he was a tremendous basketball player. So I just started. So I wanted to do good for him. I wanted to do good for these people that always had my back no matter what. When I came to do the documentary, I heard Mr. Barone go, he did what he did, but he ain't done yet. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's crazy, because I was done.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm ready to come home with podcasts.
Kill my wife.
Yeah, that's it. Let's go kill my wife.
One last thing.
So, it's just weird where your mind goes. But I looked into this, and it's the truth. And you can look it up. When a child suffers a traumatic traumatic experience, they regress. They don't grow until it all comes to them. They set back. I was never a thief growing up. Yeah, we robbed a piece of gum from the supermarket. Yeah. You shoplifted a comic book, something like that. But thieves, that was against everything I fucking believed. And here I was. Walking past houses thinking there was a fucking kilo of coke in there because I saw the old lady with a bag. What the fuck, So I went through all that shit, and yeah.
Did you do like therapy and shit, or had you just did it on your
own?
No. You just worked through it yourself?
I tell you what, man. When you're done with drugs, you're done with drugs. You can go to 18 fucking rehabs.
Yeah.
You gotta hit something that and it's gonna be the weirdest thing that's gonna make you flip. Mm-hmm. The weirdest thing. Something, for me, it was my girlfriend. Now she's my wife. But at the time, she's from Tennessee. She's sweet. I made her smoke hash at the wedding. Besides that, she don't do any of that shit. She doesn't even know my world. But guess what? She accepted it. She knows that's what makes me tick. I didn't want to find her on the floor. I didn't want her to find me on the floor. Mm-hmm. There was a couple of reasons I didn't want to go out with coke. I didn't want her finding me on the floor, and I didn't want people going back to Joe Rogan going, we told you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We told you so.
Right.
With that belief that he had in me, I couldn't. I had all these people that trusted me, and here I am dicking around and shit. So,
and Joe, you just met through the comedy, yeah, like you just
comedy store
in the back,
in the back talking shit.
And all that. And then
told him I want to go to
your
news
mom's
radio.
house
And
all that. Yeah.
That fucking you just wolfing down a bunch of shrimp. That would be who the fuck is this guy?
They were scared of me. They were like, "Who's that guy with the leather jacket?" I'm not. I'm talking about those big fucking
boys.
They're over there eating lobster. They're over there eating salads and shit. Get the fuck out of here.
You're in a classy
salad?
joint when you go.
I'm from New York City. You got salad and a shrimp. What are we doing? We're gonna pick that shrimp and put it in our pocket and take it home for our uncle. We don't give a fuck. When I did Spider-Man 2, I tell people a story all the time. On Fridays, they would have lobster tails right by my fucking door. And I would sit there and I would eat like
sell them with the rollerblades.
I would eat like 3 lobster tails, And after a while, there'd be 20 on there, and these fucking Gentiles are eating. We love the tofu salad. I'm like, I'm from fucking Jersey. Salad, lobster. We're going with the fucking lobster. I don't even need butter. I'll eat the shell. We're from Jersey.
I'll eat the claw.
We'll eat the fucking shell, man.
Was Spider-Man the movie where they had the meeting beforehand where they were like, Joe, we know you like to have a good time, and you were like, I thought no one knew.
No. That was a movie called Boilermaker.
Well, okay.
That I did the table read for with the father from The Fighter. He lived in my neighborhood, that crazy fuck Jack. And he said, you want to do this table read? I did it. And then a year later, they contacted me like, we got the movie, but it's low budget. I go ahead and they go, can we come in to go over the script? And that's when they said that to me.
And you thought you were like keeping it a good secret?
I knew people knew, but I didn't know that it was becoming a problem.
Right.
And I just was like, okay, I'm going to do it, the movie. I'll do the 3 weeks clean because it was 21-day shoot in a row. No days off. So they're like, and it was a room like this, and we're all at an AA meeting. So if you miss, it's not like they shoot the other side of the room. The camera was there. So they're like, you got to show up every day. And at the same time, like my cat got sick. One of my cats died. And there was another cat in the house that my wife brought up to help him live. Then she was going to put him back in the yard because there was like a 2,000 fucking kittens back there. And I didn't like this particular cat that she brought up, Superbad. I named him Superbad in the yard. I'm like, this motherfucker, I'm going to kill this fucking Superbad. Because I had a Siamese already picked out, like a gangster, like with the fucking eyes and shit. And that's who my wife brought up that night. She brought up the cat that I really loved that I was going to bring up. He had anemia and Superbad. Their legs had swollen. They were ready to fucking die. And I kept going to the bathroom to pee and do a bump of coke. And I was watching both of them dying in front of my eyes. And I got on my hands and knees. I pet them. You know, I didn't like Superbad, so I didn't fuck with Superbad. I'm like, die, motherfucker. You could die. And I went to bed, and my wife woke me up in the middle of the night. She goes, DJ died. And I said, just close the door. You know, I was coming down off coke. It was just another miserable fucking night in my world. But something went off, and I go, you know what? This cat's not dying in my house. This Superbad is not dying in my house. And I got up. My wife was doing something in the kitchen. At the time, she was my girlfriend. And I got on my hands and knees, and I go, God, I know you don't want to hear from me. I know it's been a while. But if you save this motherfucker, I'll never do coke again. And I could feel my Pinocchio nose just growing as I said it. I'm like, oh, this is such a bullshit story. But I started petting him, you know, and he was purring. I brought him oatmeal cookies, and he was purring and purring. And something, I go, I just can't do coke. And it was 3 days, 6 days, 7 days. Then I got on that set. And it was 12-hour days. So, honest to God, when I got home at night, I was tired. And some nights I would take a sleeping pill just so I'd have to deal with the anxiety from not doing coke. Because 7:45 every night, no matter what I was doing, 7:45, I would get those cramps in my stomach. And I would black out on the way to the ATM machine. Like I would cut people off.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give a fuck. Until I had that coke in my hand, I was a mess. Once I had that coke in my hand, I didn't do it right away. I put it in my cocaine pocket, and then I did my comedy store.
You had it, like you
as long as I knew I had it, I'm good. And once I do my last set, then I could snort some fucking coke. So when that fucking cat lived, like I stopped doing coke, and I'm like,
So like that was it.
That
like,
was
no
it.
relapses, no
no
nothing?
relapse, nothing.
That's great.
Like 4 days later, I went and I bought a gram of coke, and I went up to the comedy store because a friend of mine died, and there was a wake for her, like a gathering, not a wake. And I had some incident happen up there, and I got so hot that I gave the coke away. And I just went home, and I'm like, wow, for me to give coke away?
Yeah,
Holy
turned the corner.
fuck.
Joey Diaz did not give coke.
No, like I was at home going, I don't know if I should have gave it away. Maybe I should call him up. I need this. Yeah. And then it just turned into 30 days. And I'm like, why go back? And then it was 60 days. And it was 90 days. I didn't tell nobody. I didn't tell Rogan. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell anybody for about 6 months.
Was this when were you doing heroin at the time?
I had done some heroin that summer. Just little lines, no shooting or smoking.
Was that a joke, or did you write it in a joke, or was it a serious letter you sent to 60 Minutes where you're like, hey?
I was that close to writing the 60. That's my show, by the way. I was that close to writing 60 Minutes a letter informing them that I had found the cure on how to get off cocaine. And it was by doing heroin once a week. I go, if you do heroin on Monday morning,
you're good.
You won't touch cocaine all week. Guys.
Dude, I was reading, I was like, I can't tell if this is a joke, because also it makes sense.
Right. Guys, when you're out there, okay? You know, at least I caught it now. and
Figured it out.
I'm a big man who admit it now. Most people would say, well, we won't put that in the book. But I was to that point in my life that I was like, I'm on to something.
I can see the logic because I quit dip. I quit chewing tobacco because I had like 1 month where I was partying hard and every morning I wake up so hungover and I was like, my mouth's too dry. I don't want to dip. And after a full month, I was like, I guess I don't want to dip anymore. So the cure to stop dip is to just drink every day, all day. I was reading.
Whatever
like,
gets you there. Whatever fucking gets you
Am
there.
I illogical or does this make a lot of fucking sense?
Whatever gets you there. You know, whatever gets you there.
Well, I mean, I'm happy it all worked out because now I feel like you've probably done more good for people who are. I think it's important for people to hear advice or stories from someone who it's real. You know what I mean? Like you can go to therapy, you can talk to doctors and specialists and experts, and I'm sure they know their shit and they have good advice, and they might even be telling you the right thing. But when it's coming from someone who it's like, what do you know about this? You know, you didn't live inside of the playground.
No.
You didn't, you didn't go to jail for this and that. You weren't, all that shit. So and then you see, like, you can, because I'm sure the hardest thing for people is like, I cannot imagine me getting off this drug or getting this job or getting out of this hole and being anything, let alone being now a fucking superstar comedian and a published author and a podcast host, and an actor and all this shit. Like, you went from, you did both extremes, brother. Both extremes.
I
of life.
want people to listen. You could tell your son or your daughter not to do this and that. We lose all the time. We're going to lose to the influencers and Snoop Dogg and whatever the fuck else, And you can't blame them. They're young, they're naive, they're stupid. And then they catch on, they catch on and then you move on. That's what you pray for. You move on. With me, it was like, yeah, I lived in a house where I saw drugs. So I had already a premonition that I'm going to smoke pot. Yeah. That's already established. I don't like booze, right? Even though my mom had a bar, I fucking hate booze.
You don't drink at all?
I hate what people look like when they drink. It drives me fucking crazy. And then coke, I thought I'd never do. When my first 3 years of smoking pot, nobody knew. I was that much of a Catholic nerd that nobody knew. I had Visine, cologne. I would make sure my mom wasn't going to be around for 10 hours because I did not want to get confronted by her for reefer. And I knew she smoked, but something about it just, I couldn't have my mom know I smoked, and she didn't know. And when she died, she didn't know. I didn't want to fucking do coke. The first time I put a line in my nose, I was done.
Yeah.
And it was a week before my mother died. Week before my mother died, we played hooky, we robbed a beer truck. We got a case of the quartz, because the little beers you could freeze, but quartz, you got to put them in a tub with ice and shit. And we were making like vodka and peppermint schnapps, and we were sprinkling the coke on top. Again, who does this shit? Stupid people do this shit.
Right? Garnish the rim with a little cocaine.
In 1979, we're already making, and we put them in the freezer like idiots. Guys, come on. That does nothing to you. You know what I'm saying? But there we are drinking, and then finally we go, we got to do a line. And I did a line. I think I didn't fucking say anything for a year. Like, I was like, I crossed the fucking personal line.
I think that Artie Lang said that too. The first time he did heroin, where he was alone in a hotel room, and he went, "This is gonna be a problem."
You cross a personal line. Now you know. Now you're in. Now you're in, and then
Hooked,
you chase your whole life trying to get back. But for me, it was. Listen, I saw all these people going to rehab. I tell you what really got me going when I saw the movie Ray. At the end, they were like, he got off of heroin at like 60. I'm like, I'm 44. I can't keep doing this till I'm 60 to finally one day.
Yeah.
I got sick of it. That's what it was. I got sick of that
right.
lifestyle. I had so many people in my corner that wanted the best for me. And like I said, I did not want my wife to pick me up. And when I quit coke, I was getting to the point already where I was getting electric shocks in my neck at night. Like, whenever I would get coked up, my neck would start buckling. So I was right there.
Yeah.
And I was laughing. I got to tell you this story. I used to go to acupuncture. I still do. 17 years later, I still go to acupuncture. I go for just general health now. But when I first started going, it was for my weight and my addiction. And she would put 2 things in my ears to go. And they would help with my addiction. And she'd say, whenever you feel like snorting, rub them. Let me tell you something. I would rub them
Ears
all
are
day.
bleeding.
And then at night, I would snort coke just to blow them out of my ears. Like I couldn't wait till I heard tick. And so every Tuesday I went to acupuncture, but I always got a gram of coke that night to test the acupuncture needles in my ears. So I would snort till they popped out. Like even the muscle would go, enough. And it would just hit the floor. So it was just time. Listen, you can't put. It was just time to stop.
Yeah.
But it was everything telling me like it's time to stop.
And now you now have your own like strand of weed and all that.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, you.
Stu Fino hooked us up with something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
shit. That
sent me.
Yo, your weed is too strong.
I brought you some too,
It
cocksucker.
is. This shit. This
You guys
shit
smoke too?
Yeah. Bro, I mean, yeah. This is.
Here we go. A little laughing gas for you.
Dude, it is.
Thank you, Joey.
Bro, it is.
And I
so-
like this. This is the little cross.
is-
Check this out. This is when you really want to lose your mind. You fucking take this out, right? You put these little glasses on
Oh,
to remind you it's a lot of fun to just be a fucking loser, right?
just have yourself a time.
And you fucking open this up, and here you are. The power of Christ compels you, motherfucker. You're Irish, right? That's my boy.
You know what? My favorite.
I don't like how you didn't ask me. I think that means the nose.
You're Irish too? Oh, we got it.
Damn it! I know this nose is gonna get me.
Bro, let me tell you. Out of all your stories, the craziest ones and the wildest ones, my favorite story about you is when Ari dosed Bert Kreischer.
Oh my God.
And he called you up and was like, I've never done this before. I'm afraid. I don't know what to do. And you just showed up and you took some Molly with him and you were like, we're going to ride this out together. I was like, that is the best fucking friend I've ever
What are
heard
you
of
gonna
in
do?
my life, you know?
And he
Like, bro,
accused
here
him
we
of
go,
dosing
and
him
we're
and
good.
shit.
Yeah. That's just fucking like that's boys right there. Like, and I guess it's not the worst thing in the world. Hey, I got nothing to do this afternoon.
No, I was at my daughter's kickboxing.
Oh wow! So
And when they
even
called
better.
me and they said,
I gotta go, baby.
we
Sorry.
I took her home and I'll be right back. My wife's like, what's eating dinner? I go, I gotta go check on Bert. Something's going on over there. I get there and I walk and I see Mrs. Kreischer outside, watering the fucking flowers. Hi, Joey. What are you doing here? I go, they're in the back. They called. They needed some help with the podcast. She goes, go right in. Help yourself. Get a soda. And as I'm walking in, I see him with a fucking bikini on. And Ari's got one with that warped fucking body is. And they're dancing. Everybody was having a good time. I'm like, oh, fuck. All right. And then Bert's like, can you believe he fucking dosed me? I'm like, relax. Give me one. Pop. Fuck it. No big deal. Then they ended up at the Comedy Store drinking. It was, and that's what I said.
Face
That,
hurts from laughing. This is great.
but one thing before I get out of here, I got to tell you two Irish something. The only women that ever dated me were Irish. Can you please tell me why? My wife is Irish. The girl before that was Irish. In grammar school, McNeil, fucking Maines, I dated nothing but Irish
I want to
girls.
drive their father crazy dating a guinea.
No, I don't. No, because they're on their side. I've never had racism. I've never really dealt with a lot of people saying, if racism is not you calling me a spick or you can be calling you a Mick.
Yeah.
That's not racism, guys. We're friends. We're down. Well, you want to call, hey, Spick, come over. My dad's looking for you. He made you Irish spare ribs
The Irish
with the mashed potatoes on top.
Irish, Italian, all that, like, you bust balls and you talk shit, but there's never any like hate behind it,
I tell you what I found out. I found out the reason why Cuban and Irish are fucking tight is because Battle of the Boyne, 1680 or something like that. The Irish that didn't want to fight went to Cuba because it was a Catholic country. So when I was growing up, I grew up with a kid that had an O'Sullivan, was half Cuban. I'm like, how the fuck is
that happen?
O'Sullivan
Yeah.
half Cuban? And I went to his house one time. I grew up with a couple O'Sullivans, but this O'Sullivan was from Union City when I was younger. and his parents had the Saints and the fucking, the fried bananas, but the father was Irish, and he's right there with him, playing the bongo. I'm like, whoa, what's going on?
It's like a
cool
fun
family.
version of the German Argentinians.
Yeah. But it's like, and then I thought about it. Every Irish girl I've ever dated, the dads are out of their fucking mind. Like Irish dads are out of their fucking minds, and their daughters love it. The daughters love that shit.
Irish girls are not.
My
to be
male
trifled
girl
with,
is
bro.
Irish as can be, and I give her things from time to time. Like I'll give her half a number, I'll give her some mushroom bars,
Yeah.
And she's like not 60 like me. She's like 40, maybe 38. Good looking woman. And I went to the gym a couple weeks ago, and the guy at the gym's like, "There's a guy who comes in here. He's like, his wife is your male girl." Because I asked, I go, "Whenever you want to come over and blow a bone, you're more than welcome." My wife won't say nothing. My daughter's upstairs. We could do a bong hit, watch a game. So she went home and told the husband, "I'm going over to Joey's to get high, and you ain't coming." And the husband's losing his mind. Like,
I love you, Joey. I don't want my wife coming home and saying that.
no. But he's
Go
mad.
to Joey Diaz's house to do drugs and hang out. I don't know.
He's mad because she won't take
Bring him, yeah.
I'm not bringing you, asshole. She goes, "You're going to ask him for a picture or something." I'm not bringing you. I was like, holy fuck.
We're gonna let you go. I know you, but I gotta tell you, one of my favorite stories from the book is one of the very simple one, but just the image of it to me just kills me. When you guys got all dressed up to watch Puerto Rican Nelson fuck, and you had on your little suits and you put on your
All
cologne.
of us. We were all such fucking Catholic nerds. We were all such Catholic nerds. Jesus Christ. The church just turns you into a fucking nerd.
It really
Because
does.
I was a wild man for a while. Harlem, 88th Street. But church, I had a great priest growing up. And then Sacred Heart School for Boys, I had a good guy. But they geek you. They just, I don't know.
They brainwash you, man. All of a
For a
sudden.
couple of years. I still, brainwash? I still fucking pray to God that he forgives me for hitting that nun.
Yeah.
I don't want
that
no
might
problems with
be
that
the-
mother. What if we die and there ain't dick? But what if we die and St. Peter is waiting for you? You know what I'm saying? What if? Who the fuck knows? We don't know.
Yeah.
So I just want to, when you turn 50 and you're still alive, a guy like me, you start to tend back to the church a little more. You start going in there,
cover my
dropping a
bases.
dollar, lighting a candle. You know what I'm saying? I really do. I can't lie to you. After I became 50,
Smart
I started
man.
talking about God again. God is the Savior.
Very last thing, we have when we have guests on, we like to talk about ask them what their favorite fun fact is. Do you have like
You got a fun fact for us?
Like we had on the guy the other day who told us what the origin of It's Raining Cats and Dogs is, or
You know what that means? Raining cats and dogs?
No.
It was like back around like the Industrial Revolution when you had a farm and you worked your family, like your pets would actually work with you, right? And the cats and dogs would be out like in the barns and the farms, and they would hang out on top of the roof, and the roof was like a straw roof. And so if it rained a lot, it would break, and the fucking cats and dogs would fall on you. So if it rained enough, it was raining cats and dogs. So he taught us that. You got any? It doesn't have to be something like that, but any words of wisdom, any fun facts from Joey Diaz?
Speaking of Catholics, fucking St. Francis of Assisi, wasn't he was going to go to jail for murder or something? And a note came through the fucking ceiling from God and said he was innocent. I don't know.
We'll look it up. we'll confirm your fun fact that St. Francis of Assisi was a murderer.
I don't know if that's the same priest or not. A fun fact for me, one of the things I get off on the most telling, I don't know. Oh, there was more Cadillacs in Cuba in 1955 than there were in the United States of America.
That's a great one.
I mean, Cuba's that's crazy.
How the
Cuba's
fuck-
this fucking big.
And that's why when you watch Scarface, he keeps talking about Cadillacs.
Cadillac.
Remember? It's a Cadillac.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Holy shit.
fucking Cubans love
That's
Cadillacs.
impossible.
You gotta understand this shit. We're fucking America lovers.
That has to be every single person in Cuba has a Cadillac to outweigh fucking America. That's insane.
It's a Cadillac. It's
Holy
fucking crazy.
shit. That's a great one.
That's
There
a-
you
that's
go.
a-
Fun fact
that's
of
a
Joey
great
Diaz.
It's a great. It's fucking crazy shit that you learn. As they call it, useless information.
Yeah.
It becomes useful when you can put together a book and put together all your stories and stuff. So this is it's a great read. I recommend, usually I like to read a book, but I recommend the audiobook because you yourself do it. And I feel like it's one of those things when you're reading it, you're like, oh, I could hear Joey saying this. And it's like you can just pop it in and actually hear you, with your voice and your style. So you can either listen to it or read it. Quick, easy, fun, and I mean, one of a kind. Truly one of a kind.
Oh, and I
Nobody's
can tell.
level
I gotta
like
tell you
Bled,
something, guys. I'm gonna show you my secret. Okay, those are some Irish Catholic legs.
Oh, baby.
Those are some Irish Catholic.
Look at that! I gotta get a picture.
I don't even have
of
hair
Jesse's
on
legs.
these motherfuckers.
I would never in a million years would you say that's a Cuban guy.
That's Irish fucking legs, motherfucker.
That looks like Trent. That looks like Iowa right there. Holy shit, man!
That's what they talk about when they talk about white passing. Like, what's his ankles like?
You fucking believe that? That's how I got the name Coco, because I was so white like a coconut.
right.
So my father gave me that before he punched the ticket. So that's why it's stayed.
Thank you so much, Joey. It was
Joey.
amazing.
Brother,
so
thank you
much,
guys. This was
dude.
fun. Anytime,
Yep.
just give me a call. I'll shoot over here to see you fucking
You
savages.
guys mind signing the book for us?
Yeah, I got everything.
All right, big thanks for watching. If you made it through this whole episode, that means you should be subscribed. There's so many of you out there who watch and don't subscribe, so make sure you are a KFC Radio subscriber. Make sure you get all the content when it drops. Click that button now.
I have 9 fingers. I'm still subscribed. It's that easy.